Hello, welcome back to Out on That Line. It is week 40. We're officially over the hill. I'm Geoff with my co-host, as always, Alex. How you doing this week?
Lordy, look who's 40, baby.
Yeah, we are old. We're old as shit in podcast terms. What do you think 40 podcast episodes is in human years?
Oh my God, so it's like a dog years type thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, based on the Skimbo Lounge, which feels like I've been doing it for 30 fucking years, I would say that's about every 100 episodes is 30 years, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because it feels like, not that the show is stressful, but it's definitely a more than one compared to one human year ratio.
Correct.
Like it ages
and that
you
doesn't
quickly.
even Yeah, and it doesn't even take into account your emotional growth, which people can really track from episode 1 to 40 with us. And does that make us better than most people that listen to this show? I'm not saying that. But,
Yeah,
some people are.
Yeah, we're not saying that. We've heard on certain forums, in certain comment sections that is the case, but we're not here to comment on things like that. What we are here to comment about is Megan Thee Stallion and her new single, Thot Shit. Goodness gracious. What a tune.
My goodness. Oh, my soul. So we got two components to this. We've got the song, which is just raunch city in its own right. And then there's the music video.
This video is one of the raunchiest things I've ever seen, and it is glorious. And I may or may not have watched it a few times, maybe like a handful or 10 or 15. Who knows at this point? Who's counting?
Yeah, I watched it a handful of times too as well, just to really zero in on the science behind the video. My God, that's a lot of ass shaking. There's a whole lot of ass shaking going on in that video, and I'm not complaining. I'm just stating a fact.
You know what I think someone should do is, for those that aren't familiar, there was a wrestler named Badass Billy Gunn, a.k.a. Mr. Ass. And his entrance music was simply, it started out saying, "I'm an ass man." That somebody should superimpose that song with this music video.
Well, the truth is, this music video probably killed the ass man. He probably saw it and keeled over.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you talk about a wrestler, because I was like, oh, Geoff is brainjacking me right now. Because I was thinking of a different wrestler, Yokozuna. Because not saying any of the women in the video are fat. I'm not trying to body shame anybody. But there is a part where one of the dancers, one of the ancillary girls, hits the drop, just a big ass bonsai drop out of nowhere. And when her ass collides with the surface of the earth, the fucking camera shakes. It was visually and sonically arresting.
Yes, I think the only word I can use for it is it's stunning. Just stunning.
Yeah, I damn near fell out of my goddamn chair the first time I saw it.
Yes. So, this video, this song, as with most things Megan Thee Stallion has done, gets the Out on That Line stamp of approval. Really well done. Good stuff.
Yeah, if you thought WAP was maybe a little extreme, she doubles down on that kind of thematic imagery and language in this one. And it's another bakery fresh hit. I love it.
Oh, yes. And we know it's good because our dear friend of the pod, Ben Shapiro, has commented on this less than enthusiastically, but he's already done it. He's got a thing for Megan Thee Stallion, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, 100%. He's
Yeah.
like, I could probably ride her like a real horsey because I'm so small. If they lock the doors of the Keebler factory, I'm fucked. I don't know where I'll sleep tonight. Technically, I no longer represent the Lollipop Guild. Facts don't care about your feelings. I fucking hate that guy so goddamn much.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that was well done. I feel like we dipped our toes into a little Skimbo lounge there.
Uh-oh. Clean your feet then.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? regarding Megan Thee Stallion Thot Shit.
No, I think my boorish behavior heretofore has said it all.
All right, perfect. Okay, back to serious business. I have a question for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What is the difference between a baby and a bag of cocaine?
I don't have a bag of cocaine taped to the underside of my car.
That's also could be an answer, but I have a better one.
Okay.
Clapton would never let a bag of cocaine fall out a window.
Okay, I was in the ballpark at least. That's horrible. Where did you hear that?
Oh, just a little place called Reddit.
Oh, God, they never fail.
Fiance of the pod did not appreciate that one.
No, I'm sure most of the civilized world wouldn't.
Feel free to use that one, folks. I stole it from Reddit, so feel free to also steal it. You know, it's a free website. Go ahead and take it.
Wow, you really caught me by surprise with that one, because at the beginning you were like, I got something I want to talk about, and you implied what it was. I was like, okay, I'm ready. I don't know what question he's about to ask, but you got me there. That was in poor taste and funny as fuck. That covers all the bases.
Well, that's what we try to do every day here. Okay, but seriously, I do have a serious topic. So today, well, I guess yesterday, Coheed and Cambria announced a tour. Today, tickets went on sale. And I went on there with my little pre-sale code. So you know I'm a big fan, little child amongst the fence here. So I go on there, and I love being in the pit for Coheed, as you do. And the tickets on Ticketmaster, $79 for the fan pre-sale. And plus fees, 2 tickets was $203.
I mean,
for general
that
admission.
Seems unusually steep for general admission. Am I incorrect there in my assessment?
Yes, that is outrageous
what
for
the
general
fuck?
admission. I mean, I get it that it's at a big venue. It's at the 360 Amphitheater here in Austin, so it's like where big artists play. Like Coheed has played there before, and they're doing a tour with the Used. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why the tickets are probably twice as much as I've ever paid to see Coheed before in my life.
Wow.
But it was just very upsetting because it's like you pay, so $80 for a Coheed show. I would pay that anyway. It's like, whatever. As long as it's not like $300, I'll probably pay it to go see them. But it just seems the principle of the thing to me is suspect, because you're talking about $80 right off the bat. So it should be $160, right? But no, they tack on $40 worth of fees. You're talking $20 of fees per ticket. It's outrageous.
But what do these fees even cover, right? Like, have you ever looked into this?
I have the mobile versions of the tickets. Like, I am not going to even print these out. They're going to live on my phone until I go to the concert. They're going to scan my phone to let me in. So they've printed nothing. Their system is all automated. They have done nothing.
So again, what are these fucking processing fees going to?
Convenience fees and processing fees, like you're saying. Like, it's just whatever they can tack on. And what are you supposed to do? When they release these tickets as on regular sale, the fees are going to be the same, and the tickets will probably be a little more expensive because they'll be more in demand. That's the other thing. They're doing on-demand pricing now. So if all of a sudden a concert starts selling like hotcakes, they start ramping up the cost of those tickets because they want to take the money back from the scalpers, which fuck scalpers.
Right.
I'm firmly in that camp as well, but it doesn't. Fuck scalpers does not equate Ticket Center like you charge how much the scalpers are instead. Then it's like I don't want that kind of charge coming from either party. So it's like they think they're doing a good thing, but it's not making a difference for me.
No, yeah, it's like you're trying to fuck scalpers, but you're trying to like do it with the fucking 99% as the condom. Like, you can't be doing that. Like, we're the only ones that get fucked.
Yeah, it was disappointing. I mean, I paid it. It is what it is. Like, if I want to see them, that's you got to pay the cost, see the show. It's how it goes. But it's just generally upsetting that I'm literally not getting a physical ticket in my hand. If I wanted to, it would be probably like another $15 per ticket to do that. And to get them shipped, probably make you pay out the nose for that.
That's egregious. What's next? Is the venue going to make you pay to take a piss? Like,
well, don't speak that into existence because it might.
It's coming.
We're subcontracting our bathroom attendant work now. So if we charge everybody that goes in there, it really equals out to exactly what we need to pay them. And it doesn't cost us anything.
Can you imagine? Nothing would make more libertarians than a piss tax.
Right? That would do it.
That's the groundswell of support the movement needs.
Yeah. Piss tax. Oh man, I can't imagine how much the feminine products would be in the women's bathroom.
Jesus Christ.
If they even offer them.
I have no concept of what those things cost baseline. Can't imagine what they'd be at a concert.
It's probably not great. Go ahead and email us with the answer for that. Out on that line at gmail.com. Let us know how much tampons
plug.
Tampons cost.
Good
yes.
plug.
Yes.
Shit,
yes.
I just realized what I was saying. Excellent plug for our email. That is all I meant by good plug. Hot on the heels of tampon talk. What if we get sponsored by Kotex and we just have to do that every week?
That's fine.
That's awesome.
Their money spends the same.
Exactly.
Yeah. I take that Kotex money. I'm not above that.
Not
even
at
close.
all, man.
Yeah, not even close. I'd do way worse than that.
Well, balls in your court, Kotex.
Yeah. Let us know at outonthatline@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. All right. So we have an album. I feel like we got to keep things moving here.
Yeah.
We have an album to talk about this week. Japanese Breakfast released a new album called Jubilee, I believe on June 4th. So been out for just about a couple weeks now. But I'd never listened to Japanese Breakfast before. Had certainly heard of them, and at least to my knowledge, had never heard the music. But this was time to jump in, and I really I thought this was a pretty good one.
Yeah, you could have knocked me over with a feather when we were talking about album picks and you sent this one, because I randomly listened to it while I was down in Raleigh. I had it on heavy rotation with Olivia Rodrigo. Because before I had only ever heard, I think like 2 or 3 songs off of Soft Sounds from Another Planet, which is the 2017 album that she made. Roadhead is the one song that comes to mind.
You would.
And it was really, really good. It was really good music, but it was also like super depressing. And that's why I kind of like this Jubilee album, because Michelle Zauner is the name of Japanese Breakfast in real life. She talks about, I've got these 2 albums worth of grief from my mother passing away, but I'm coming out the other side. I've worked through my grief with a memoir and with these albums, and I want to show how much joy I'm capable of because I've experienced a lot of joy in my life. So I really like that approach to this album. It was like a really refreshing take, because my impression of her, not negative, was definitely like, oh my God, this is really depressing fucking music.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had no basis for any sort of judgment. So I'll have to, if it's that much of a drastic difference from what she did on this album, I bet it'd be interesting, because she's certainly a talented artist. Can't make an album like this one without being so. So I think I'd like to check some of that older stuff out. I feel like it'd probably be pretty good.
Yeah, there's that, and there's Sable, which is her like all instrumental side project. It's like very loose, very experimental, very Zappa-esque, getting him in at the 17.5-minute mark. But it's really cool. That's really cool too. You should check out Sable.
Okay. All right. I will do that. So I suppose we should just get right into it. So we have selected a certain, kind of few songs here, 3 each, and we're going to be going over them. But I think you can expect us to get a little bit excited about this one, because it's been, I think, a few good weeks in a row. I got to talk about Coheed with Tanner, talked about Olivia Rodrigo, and now we're talking about a pretty damn good album. And I think we start with Be Sweet is the first one that we picked, and I just got to say, in general, I love the kind of like 80s revival that we're getting from a lot of artists in the last few years. I think that's been really, really great. And this song is just like right in that pocket, right in that 80s pocket. It's just really, really good.
Yeah, and for a while, the 80s thing was getting really played out. The 80s nostalgia, especially in film and television. And for me, the bubble burst with Wonder Woman 1984. Like, we had reached a shatter point before that, but by the time that movie came along, I was like, why are we still doing this? Like, we have wrung every last fucking drop out of 80s nostalgia. You can't get anymore. We're tapped. The diamond mine has run dry. But I don't think that's the case in music because, like you said, there's this really strong push towards that 80s synth-heavy sound, but it's not super blatant and it's not like over the top. It's very subtle. Like, you listen to this album, and if it wasn't for some of the other production choices, it could very well be a hidden gem from the 80s. I'd buy that.
Yeah. And apparently this was written as supposed to be just like a throwaway song. You know, they kind of, the person that she wrote it with, hold on, let me find the name here. Jack Tatum, this guy. So they basically got kind of talked into going into the studio with each other, but they're like labels or somebody said like, you know, played both ends to get them to get in there, like lied to both of them about what the real motivation was just to get them in the room to like see if they'll write something. And they were like, okay, well, we'll just write something to make some money and throw it away, you know, and just be like, be done with it. And it just turns out to be a fucking jam. And she liked it enough that she put it on this album. And it was just like, I don't know, it was so upbeat. And when I was mowing the lawn the first time I listened to this album, I was grooving in the backyard.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a really, really good album. And this song really, you know, at the early part of it really helps get you right into it.
Yeah, and we're not going to talk about Paprika, which is the opener, but like that sets the tone perfectly. And it sounded a little more like Soft Sounds from Another Planet. But then you get into Be Sweet and you see just like she's moving into a really electronic direction. Like the sound, especially through the album, moves really like much, much farther in that direction. But it's great. I mean, it could have been overbearing. It could have been too aggressive for an album called Jubilee, right? I would tend to think like in the hands of a Taylor Swift, it would be a very surface level acoustic kind of joint.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is this is like a very joyous album and the electronica kind of supports it. And it's weird. It's electronic vibes that I haven't really heard before, not utilized this way. Very emotional, very sweet.
Yeah. And I think I got a lot of Strand of Oaks vibes throughout this whole album. I think they're on the same label as well. I think they're both on the Dead Oceans label. Pretty sure Phoebe Bridgers is also on that one. I mean, there's a lot of heavy hitters on that label. But this song, like, it very much reminded me of the song Same Emotion off the Heal album from Strand of Oaks. And it's that's a really excellent synth song. And he's done a lot of synth stuff as well. And it's just funny that Dead Oceans has just found this kind of pocket of these just really super talented songwriters. And they're just like, go nuts, do whatever you want to do, make it weird. And this is the quality of stuff that we're getting. We got Phoebe Bridgers' Punisher, you know, we got Eraserland from Strand of Oaks, his last one on Dead Oceans. We also had Heal from him. Now we have this one, Jubilee from Japanese Breakfast. Just like, what a lineup they have over there.
Yeah, and it kind of opened my eyes. This album kind of opened my eyes to that. I'm like, they've got a fucking murderer's row of talented artists over there.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff. And like, again, the synth is pitch perfect. It could have been like production wise, this kind of thing, if she decided to step out, could have been a giant fuck finish of just like sounds that lie on top of each other and don't really mesh and putting a hat on a hat, as we like to say. But it's totally seamless and it's super subtle. She doesn't stray too far out of the indie aesthetic with the synth stuff that it's unrecognizable. It's just like bionic enhancement. It's really, really supreme.
Yeah, it is a very, very good one. But the next one that we're going to talk about is one you picked called Slide Tackle.
So I can't say that this is smooth. It's too aggressive to be smooth. But it sure as fuck is dreamy. It's like jazz shoegaze.
Yeah.
It's got this really cool like saxophone in a sewer grate kind of sound, that like distant woodwind instrument calling to you from the depths of hell kind of thing, right in the middle, which is what made me kind of perk up when I was listening to it the first time. And then I went back and listened to it again, and I just love that idea. You're going to slide tackle your grief. You're going to slide tackle. You're going to stiff arm, all adversity and your demons, and you're going to try to make yourself open to somebody so that they can love you, because that's something you've decided you value, and you have to make yourself emotionally available for it. So you got to, fight your demons.
Yes. Yeah. And it really, to me, I'm glad you brought up jazz, because to me, she has such, I don't know if she ever like played jazz seriously. I really don't know much about her. But she's got a very kind of jazzy style with, everything still stays in like, for the most part, like 4/4 time, it still sounds like an indie rock song, but the way she adds little details in, like she does on this song. It's like every time you listen through it, you can hear a new instrument. You're like, how much stuff did she just, it seemed like she just threw everything but the kitchen sink at this one production wise. And it's still so pulled back and controlled, and just a really nice kind of, I don't know about ballad, but like still a really nice, like, slow down from Be Sweet and songs like that. She just hits good contrasts on this one, where even though this one Slide Tackle sounds like it's underproduced, because it doesn't have as much going on as other songs. If you really listen to it, it's not at all. It's just all done a lot more subtly and in a really, really beautiful way on this one.
And what's so cool about it is it's very obviously tightly scripted. I don't think she would go in there and just be like, let's go nuts on the spot like Fiona Apple did on Fetch the Bolt Cutters.
Yeah.
So it's we know that it's tightly scripted, but the trick is it sounds improvisational when you're listening to it. And like, that's beautiful. How do you make your like solid written blueprint sound completely spontaneous? And that is this song's biggest strength, is it's like when it kind of feels like it's going off the rails, you trust that this deviation is just part of the plan.
Yep. Yeah. It's
So,
a really,
it's a great
really
song.
excellent one. It's just throughout this whole album, I don't know if I could really pick a favorite. I had ones that I'd probably go back and listen to just because they're a little more upbeat. But throughout the whole thing, like the three that you sent me, once in a while I'll be like, oh, I wouldn't have picked that one. Once in a while, like, I'd see, but that's why we're doing this, is so we get different perspectives. But this one, it's like, those were three that I would have picked. But I was like, okay, well, I guess I got to pick three other ones we got to talk about. But I was not disappointed whatsoever by that happening, because I'm like, I'd want to talk about the whole album, but it's just like, because it's a really, really, from song to song, the changes that she makes, and then keeping some things in common, it's just so well done that it strings the album together really well, but never makes it feel boring. The way that it just is a really easy listen. It's only like 37 minutes or something like that.
37 minutes.
Yeah, it's fairly short, but it's just, all the songs kind of accomplish what they need to, and then you move on. And that's what I love about this album.
Yeah. Nope. Totally agree.
Yeah. And the next one that I chose, Posing in Bondage. And I like this because it's, she has done some like kind of clever stuff, but you read a title like Posing in Bondage, and your mind goes one way when you hear the word bondage. Everybody's mind goes to a very dirty place. Get your minds out of the gutter, folks, because this one's not about that. This one's about pure monogamous love bondage. And still, I guess that doesn't sound any better. But this one is about a, like, just kind of more like a monogamous relationship. You're in bondage in the way that you're like together and you're like officially together. It's a love between two people. And that's the bondage that she's talking about in this one. But it's just a really, the build on this one is really, really good. She does that very well. This one starts out in one place and you end up in a completely different place. And I love that when songs do that. And she does it so well. She does it on the last song in the album as well. It's just, it reminds me almost of like Com Truise. I don't know if you ever listen to Com Truise.
Yes, Axel got me to listen to it.
Yeah, Axel did the same for me. And also Churches. Like she gave me very Churches vibes on this one.
Yeah.
And it's like it it just, I don't know, that build, the way it all is held together, the way it's not about what you think it's going to be about, and it's about something that's like way more pure, you know. It's just like, I don't know, it's a really good pop song. I really, really like this one. I guess if I had to pick my favorite one, this would probably be it on the album.
This one's definitely up there because it's like you said, the interesting part about it is the dichotomy between love can be bondage in terms of it holding you down, locking you up, if you allow it to feel like a burden like that. At the same time, bondage can be the two people, joined at the hip, united, stronger as a unit. And it's a beautiful thing based on nurture and love. And I think the cool thing about the song is it walks right down the middle and doesn't commit to either side because that's life, right? Mm-hmm. There are times where this monogamy is going to be terribly unexciting and you might feel like you're in a rut and you might not be able to appreciate everything it's afforded you. And there are going to be times where it's very adventurous and very affirming, and it's that mix that endures throughout your entire life and keeps it exciting. So like like you said, these little like deviations with this song, I think reflect that back and forth. And overall, it's exciting to realize like half the time this is going to be great. Half the time this is going to be challenging as fuck, but buy the ticket, take the ride.
Yeah. And I don't know. I was not expecting this one because it starts out in such a kind of slow way. And then, but I'm listening to the album all the way through. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm listening to it all the way through no matter what. And then all of a sudden, this one just immediately goes from, I was like, it's okay, to like, holy shit, this is a banger. Like, I like this one. This was the one where it's like you take your phone out of your pocket to confirm the name of, because you're like, I got to remember this one, It was just like that good. And, I think it sets up the rest of the album because from here on, it just doesn't quit on this album, at least for me. The next song, Sit, is one that I chose as well. And just because she had a kind of a good quote about it and about like how she sees the song. The verse is like hell and the chorus is like heaven. And I just thought it's such a good way to describe this song because it has those real deep, heavy kind of keyboards during the verses. And then the chorus is a much lighter, brighter sound. It doesn't have as much bass. It's not in the lower registers. It's like goes into those kind of standard pop music notes. And I just thought it was a great way she described it because it's just the perfect way to describe the song as well.
Yeah. Hearing that gives me a greater appreciation for the song. I didn't really like this one that much.
Yeah.
I can't say it's bad. It just didn't. It was just a little industrial for me. And what I don't hold against it is the lyrics because those are a little more. They're a little less. They're less on the nose than certain things, right? You have to try to interpret them and unpack them. Talking about, she makes a reference to like zeros and ones at one point. And I'm like, okay, binary. What is she trying to say with these lyrics? And like, it's a chase sequence on loop. And I'm like, it's all this very weird robotic kind of imagery and terminology. And I'm like, I feel stupid. I can't really like form an interpretation. So I don't hold that against the song. That's the most interesting thing about it is like trying to figure out what she's trying to say. Yeah. Just musically didn't really set me on fire that much.
Yeah. So I think, I can maybe explain to you that first verse, at least what I think of it as. It sounds to me, it's like how people communicate on a dating app. And communicating in zeros and ones is how like the data gets transmitted before it gets all like unpacked for you to see on your screen when it goes from one phone to the other. So say to sit on so we didn't really get into lyrics with Megan Thee Stallion, and I thought I was going to be scot-free on this one. I was like, I haven't said anything that offensive. Okay, here we go.
Done.
Yeah. Say to sit on your face in zeros and ones. And that's kind of like how like guys are notorious on those dating websites for being like out of line, right? Sending dick pics, all that kind of stuff. Like, so that to me is what she's saying on here is like the dating game right now is fucked because the way that we talk to each other is through the internet, the zeros and ones. It's a chase sequence on loop because you tend to do the same things over and over and over. You don't really ever break out of that cycle with those things. because I know lots of people that used them, and then like years ago when I was on them, it's like you do the same thing. You say hi, what's up, blah blah blah, and very rarely do you get out of like the cycle of the same things that you say over and over to everybody. So it's like I think that's what she's talking about in the first verse.
I mean, that makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. That's very good. That's very good, Geoff.
Oh, thank you.
You
Yes.
get an A today.
All right. Hopefully I get a certificate too. That'd be nice.
Yeah, no, that was. I mean, seriously, that's really good. I didn't even think of it that way, and it makes total sense.
Yeah, I think that's just what I get out of it. If she's listening and she wants to let me know what she actually meant by it, we'd love to hear it at outonthatline@gmail.com. The next song, Savage Good Boy. Now this one was one of your picks.
Yeah, I like it because it's got like very apocalyptic imagery.
Mm-hmm.
I interpreted it as a song about doing really questionable shit, like increasingly questionable, self-serving stuff, all for the goal of securing the world for someone that you love.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make all the money. But it's interesting because she talks about it in the sense of like, you are going to be my kept man. You are going to rear the children. And like in this, I'm the queen, but that doesn't make you the king. You're married to the queen. Mm-hmm. And I want to provide you with the world. And in doing so, I'm going to destroy it. And you and I will come back and build a better one. And I'm like, that is a really fucked up, interesting love song. I can't not pick it. And also all the like production choices and all the sounds in it are wild. Like the way that it starts. And as a Prince fan, I appreciate that she's not necessarily outright impersonating a male character. Like Prince used to do that on certain albums where he would have this like female persona that would come out. And she's not necessarily doing that with a man right here. She's just like kind of taking traditionally, stereotypically male energy and using it as the undercurrent for this song, kind of like St. Vincent on Daddy's Home, reclaiming the term daddy. I don't know. I just think it's a kooky, weird, fucking apocalyptic love song. I love it.
Yeah, it starts out and it sounds like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Inside Llewyn Davis.
I have not yet.
Well, it's a great movie, but it's like one of the scenes is Adam Driver, Justin Timberlake, and Oscar Isaac, the guy that plays Llewyn Davis, and they're playing a song, and the beginning of this song sounds like that to me. Like when I heard it, it was like it had very much that like 60s folk music kind of vibe to it. But it really had some good lines in it. I really like this one when she said $1 billion bunker for two. She's talking about how, people hoarding wealth and how they're like they like to buy bunkers. So it's like she doesn't understand why people do that sort of thing. So it's like $1 billion bunker for two. It's like, but you're going to come out to a world that's like destroyed. It's just like, it's kind of a funny thing, the way she does it, the way she makes you think about it, where it's like, you want to do all these things to like take care of somebody and like secure yourself. But in the end, it's just like such a ridiculous thing to put the world through to have that much.
And again, for me, that's the appeal. That's such a weird way to declare your love for someone, is I will burn it all down for you. I will change the world as you know it. You just have to ask me to. It's like, it's fucking kooky. I really like it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea for a song.
Yeah, she's definitely a weird one in a very good way. And I think I would, I'm sure she plays in Austin. I mean, artists this level tend to, like, we tend to miss all the really big ones. They go to Dallas or Houston for the most part. But if she goes on tour, I bet she comes to Austin. I bet you I'm going for sure.
I mean, that would be great.
Yeah. I wonder if she's playing ACL this year.
Ooh.
I would have to look that up. I'm going to look that up after we're done.
Post-pod, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look that up. Well, shall we move on to your last pick?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the last pick and the last song on the album, Posing for Cars.
So, The song starts off really cold, really quiet, very introspective. It appropriately sounds like the end of the album, the end of the experience. Like you've been pouring your heart out, you've been singing your lungs out for, 30 minutes, and then you get to hear it's the end of the road. So it's this kind of quiet, contemplative, introspective moment in the first verse. Time, she talks about time feels frozen. There's these thoughts that are festering, desire grows. And as that's happening, verse by verse, more elements get added in. So it'll start super stripped down. Then we're going to add in some piano, some secondary guitar. Eventually, we're going to add in the drums. And it's this like slow, measured, my favorite word, titrate, where it like just kind of keeps building throughout the song. And then finally, the emotion all spills over to the point where words are no longer adequate and it becomes completely instrumental for the last like 2.5, 3 minutes. And it's so fucking good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is the perfect album closer. I mean, I know that's something we talk about a lot, is the kind of sequencing of the album, making sure that you kind of, at least if you're not going to have a kind of central theme for everything, at least send us through an emotional journey that makes sense, and a journey always has its end. It might be an open-ended thing, but it always has an end. And if it doesn't have one, or one that doesn't seem to fit, it doesn't work, on a lot of albums. But this one closes this album with a bang. And I mean, the guitar solo in this one is absolutely phenomenal. That was the point where I was like, wow, this really is, because the Strand of Oaks thing kind of like popped into my mind. I'm like, well, I'm probably just looking for it now that I heard like one thing that sounds like it. But this solo had Strand of Oaks written all over it. And, they all take their inspiration from like people like Neil Young and Pink Floyd and these like just people that were unbelievable luminaries of guitar, and just that style, that just heavily overdriven, like tube guitar, just warm, beautiful tone. And it's just so good, the solo that she accomplishes here, because at no point does she put too much there. There's always something to be said for listening. There's music between the notes as well, and if you're playing too much, you never let us make our own connections. So that's why it's hard for me to emotionally invest in metal music and stuff like that, because it's fun to listen to. And I certainly listen to it a lot. But this is much more the type of music that you can really dig into and really get into, because she always does a lot, but she never does too much. And it's so perfectly exemplified on this song. Like the amount of restraint she has in the right moments, and the amount of just kind of boldness she has in the right moments. And it's such a good balance.
This one reminded me of two songs. The first one, Uncle Frank getting his second segment of the show. It's the song off of Joe's Garage, Watermelon and Easter Hay. And Dweezil Zappa, his son, was like, that's the best guitar solo my dad ever wrote.
Yeah.
Was the one on Watermelon and Easter Hay. I don't know enough about guitar on like a super technical level to be able to say one way or another. I'm just a Frank Zappa fan, so I kind of love it no matter what. But it's this like perfectly placed song, and this like it's like a 16-minute, like 12 to 16-minute guitar solo with all these great bells, and it's just got this very emotionally heavy feel, because again, we've reached the end of the road and our words are failing us, so now we're going to put it all into this like wailing guitar solo. So I'm reminded of Watermelon and Easter Hay, and I'm also reminded of the last song off of Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers, I Know the End.
Yes.
Because that one starts off on the tracks and then just like falls apart at the seams as it goes. But again, calculated chaos. It sounds like the tape is unspooling, but that was all very purposeful. And that's what happens in this song. It's just like the elements just keep growing until, like you say, she never does too much. And you're right. It's not too many elements, but she does let them boil over at one point. because it just creates this fucking mushroom cloud of sound before it just kind of the souffle dies and the song kind of sees its way out. But it's so fucking powerful. It's super emotional. It's a tremendous closing song.
Yeah, and it really reminded me of Cortez the Killer by Neil Young. That was what this guitar tone, like the way she was playing it. I mean, it's just like, it was just so good. It's something you don't expect on an album, is a guitar solo like that on the same album that you got like a straight up like 80s revival song, in an album that you had like a lo-fi electronic song that could have been in that movie Drive. You know, the same album that had just a nice like acoustic ballad. You know, it's just like, I don't know. She's got a lot of talents. She wears a lot of hats, and she wears them all very well. I mean, this album was really, really excellent.
Yeah, and it's not inaccessibly eclectic either. Like, some people have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people's feedback on Miley Cyrus' Plastic Hearts is that they kind of got whiplash between the different styles and the different paces of the songs, and like, oh, it's dipping back down into this like arena ballad, and now it's up to a fucking Grandpa Billy Idol spooky Halloween party song, a fucking night crawling song.
Yeah.
Sucks ass. But people seem to get a lot of whiplash from the experimentation on that, and that's, your mileage may vary, but that's not a problem here. It's eclectic without being inaccessible.
Yeah.
People can find a lot to like in this.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say stream it. I mean, this was a really excellent album. I loved it.
Yep, stream it. I second that.
Yeah. So we have quite a bit of time left.
I noticed.
We burned right through this. Is there anything that's been burning at you, clawing at your heart, that you've been wanting to discuss on the podcast?
Oh man. Not really. The only thing, like, musically with regards to this podcast that I've been thinking about a lot is like trying to figure out what our upcoming projects are, because I can tell you Doja Cat has a new album coming out.
Oh, yes.
Cat's back.
Oh, yes.
The cat is back, and the back is still fat. And we can all rejoice in that. Flawless. I remember on your Wallflowers singles video, you said they've got an album coming out.
Oh, yes.
And you were like, you'd have to talk me into that. You don't have to do too much convincing there, buddy.
Excellent.
So we got the Wallflowers, we got the cat, and then John Mayer has an album coming out this summer. Have you heard that Last Train Home? I don't know if that's the correct title. Last Train Running or Last Train Home?
Yes. I've heard it. I don't know which one it is either, but I listened to it. It was on my Spotify, like, new songs this week, kind of whatever that little playlist is.
I think it must be Last Train Home, because, funny sidebar, Tanner and I are playing music with Reno one time, and he's like, oh, I'm going to look up the chords for that Without Love song. And he's just looking and looking and looking. He's like, I can't find the chords for Without Love by the Doobie Brothers. Tanner and I just looked at each other and we're like, are you talking about Long Train Running? Oh, yeah, you're right. Fuck. So it's this John Mayer song is probably Last Train Home. All of which, my helpful mnemonic device with Matt Reno.
Oh my God, that man is, I don't know what kind of primordial ooze he crawled out of, but never fails to disappoint in any and every situation.
What is the secret of the ooze?
I don't know. I think the secret is that he always does disappoint. I think that's the secret.
He's just so lovable. He's like Kung Fu Panda. Like, you can't get mad at him. He's just like pure joy and light, but he just steps on a lot of rakes.
Yeah. He is the Three Stooges rolled into one.
He's the best. I love him to death.
Yeah. And I think that's a very fitting Reno story. We should make that a regular segment. You know, I think you and I, between the two of us, we have enough to do the next 50 episodes.
Oh, 100%. I can think of a million right now, and I just don't want to blow any more.
Well, we also have, something that we were discussing, and I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to put it out into the universe to hold a few feet to the fire here. A few feet of our co-host, Tanner.
Oh.
Our third co-host. Because at this point, he's the
Ghost.
only other one that's been on the pod with us.
That's true. And 2 appearances you qualify. 1 is a one-off, 2 is a gig.
Yeah, that's a habit. So I think we've been discussing a Meatloaf episode with one Tanner to make, and I'm going to let you say what you called us, because I'm not going to steal that thunder.
Well, I mean, probably only the Meatloaf fans will mark out for this, but we're thinking about titling the episode "The 3 Bats."
Oh yeah. And I think
to
there's
people
that
don't give a shit about Meatloaf, they're just like, okay.
I guess I get a week off from out on that line. Oh, we're just kidding. We're not going to title it that. We're not going to tell you what we're going to title it. So you'll give us the play. You'll give us the click, and you'll have no idea. Yes.
We're going to just call it like reading Megan Thee Stallion's DMs, and you'll be like, fuck yeah.
That sounds interesting. Maybe we should call our episodes stuff like that. Do you think it'd just like pick up traction that way? I mean, it'd be a pretty cheap way to do it, but I'm not above that.
You'll get angry. You'll get downvoted to hell. For instance, on my other podcast, The Skimbo Lounge, we had an episode called Noted Fascist Donald Duck. And it's got over 1,000 views on YouTube, but it's got 3 likes to 6 dislikes. So I think people felt a little duped when they came in, and I drew Donald Duck in a Proud Boys polo and a MAGA hat. And I think it made certain promises to them. I think maybe they were hoping we were pro-fascist Donald Duck. Spoiler alert, we're not. We didn't come out in favor of fascist Donald Duck. And I think that upset and offended a lot of people. So I think if we're promising that we're going to talk about, the dirty stuff that Megan Thee Stallion must say in her DMs and must receive in her DMs,
I was
going
to say that's probably worse.
Yeah.
She's got a career to worry about now. Although she probably doesn't care.
I bet her sexting game is ironclad.
Oh, impenetrable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. She probably uses that exact word a lot to get the boys going.
You think so? I feel like that's not what she portrays.
I would have to earn the right to a life with such a woman.
Well,
I would not expect that to come easy.
I think, since we've done 44 episodes of this show at this point, this is track 40 of our regular episodes. Plus we've done 4 one-offs, 2 with Tanner. I think at this point, you've put in the work. You've paid your dues. I think it's time, Megan. Come on home. Just come on home.
Listen, little horse, we've got apples here. We've got, fur coats and good times. Like, everything's safe and warm here. It's all the stuff you love. So just come on home. I'm not trying to break a wild stallion, but just run around the pen for a minute and let me admire you. And I won't try to hold you down. You just jump the fence when you've had enough. But I just want to brush your mane, and I want to learn from you because you have a lot you could teach me. And I'm sorry that the horse metaphor went off the tracks, but you make me very nervous because you're what a woman. So I can't be cool. I can't be sexy. All I can do is be a boy standing in front of a microphone asking an international rap sensation to cosplay like she's a horse for him so that he doesn't feel stupid.
Well,
that's all.
Well, I think on that note, thank you. That was incredible.
I gotta up my fucking doses on my medication.
Well, folks, if you liked that, you can find us on Instagram @OutOnThatLine, on Twitter @OutOnThatLine1. You can email us outonthatline@gmail.com. You'll even find us on Facebook. You'll find all of our episodes including our singles episodes on YouTube. Search hashtag Out on That Line on YouTube, and you'll pull all those up. We've got every single one of those, the 40 tracks, this being number 40, the 4 one-off episodes. Expect those to continue. And all of our singles videos. By the time you listen to this Monday, there's going to be a fresh one up there for you. So make sure you scoot on over there to the YouTube, subscribe, hit that subscribe button. It'll cost you nothing. It's free. Eventually, we get paid for it. So you do that for us. We'll keep cranking out these episodes. Alex, do you have anything else?
Megan, I'm so sorry. Once again, please don't hold this against me.
Until next time.